time. I'm embodiment, I'm cell division. I am schism, I'm oxygen. Word, reflex, imitation, fears and the fears of my parents. My pleasures, my creed, my race, my gender, my body, my mask, my ego, my epistemology, my school, my family, my neighborhood, my city, my myths, my religion, my culture, my gods and their sacrifices. I am seed, I'm written word, I am fire, prehensile hand, upright walk. I am Lucy, I am Homo sapiens. I am mammal, animal, plant, algae, oxygen. I'm carbon, live, silicon, magma, stone, breath of fire, falling star, ether. I am a 53 years old artist with over 30 years of professional involvement being an artist and developing metaphors that unveil the deepest common grounds of our experience as conscious beings and part of a life weave that heads far away from our anthropocentric domains. My art has nurtured from listening to diverse and wise expressions of traditional and indigenous cultures' epistemologies, the view and acknowledgement of the behavior of reality at the level of the quantum world, and the uneasiness that I experience with our egocentric Western paradigm view. Within me lies a deep epistemological and metaphysical obsession to understand who I am. Along the way in that search, I managed to taste realities that surpass and transcend the ordinary experience of a mask erected under a skin, a body, an identity, an ego, a creed, a flag, a race, a gender, or a political view. I am interested in understanding the phenomenon of perception and the reality of the self as an epiphenomenon of consciousness. I'm interested in finding patterns within systems. During the initial years of discovery and speculation, I reflected upon perception and how the image builds in the mind. Later on, the quest followed the steps of the expression of a reality with dialectic of opposites. This would lead to the experience and validity of the presence of consciousness in everything as understood by other traditional cultures and paradigms. Intuitively, I had a cybernetic approach to epistemology, trying to understand perception as a holistic neuropsychological phenomenon. Understanding systems, their patterns, their forms, and the way they operate has been a way of life in order to approach knowledge. For me, Gestalt theory connected quite appropriately to my understanding of systems behavior, especially with the principle of emergence, where the whole is other than the sum of the parts, that both Gestalt theory and systems theory share. When I started to paint at the age of 22, I could see how my gestural and automatic painting expression that was coming along was an organic process and was the manifestation of a complex system at work. I could see how the Gestalt principles of perception were clearly displayed before my eyes. Principles such as emergence, where the whole is identified before the parts, reification principles, where the mind fills in the gaps, and others. My art was a crossroads between figurative art and abstract art, between drawing and painting, and between two-dimensional format and a three-dimensional vehicle. The body of work that came out from my early experience was not a work that would sit quietly under academic scrutiny, since the art world and the academic world demanded from the pupils good behavior and obedience towards the principles of being clearly defined towards one end. And that was and is not my case. I grew up without Google, and so I had to work my way alone, looking here and there for similar experiences with which I could relate. My approach to life is interdisciplinary because I had to look everywhere. I have to highlight the fact that in the world of quantum physics, I found a wonderful solace. I propose here a hypothesis that consciousness and epistemology can be accounted thanks to the uncertainty principle and the concurrence of the interaction of the cognitive abilities of the bilateral mind. The mind as a quantum cybernetic fractal system will integrate information collected via left hemisphere functions and non-directed ones coming from the right hemisphere. Consciousness involves the knower up to a certain point, but involves a certainty of totality given from the knowing of a right hemisphere.